Live from New York, it's Ask an Engineer.
Shana Tova, everybody, and welcome to a new year of Ask an Engineer. It's me, as always, Lamore, Lady Adafruit, with Mr. Lady Ada on the side here on camera control.
I go to meetings with shipping companies.
Who loves meeting with shipping companies.
That's
and
what I've been doing.
all about zone quoting. So you've got an exciting show, a lot of electronics, lots of great demos.
Harmonized codes.
Lots of tariff codes. No, lots of stickers that say lithium-ion battery enclosed. All sorts of good stuff, videos and tutorials and projects. Let's get right in.
Okay, on tonight's show, the code is sound. 10% off everything needed for store that's in stock. Code is sound. Talk about show and tell, lots of cool projects, full house, amazing stuff. Back at the mailbag, we'll stop by. Hi, I'm back in the mailbag. I'm gonna stop by. Too many shipping meetings. So help wanted, we have our jobs board, we talk about that. Some amazing news in the world of open source hardware. Some Arduino news. You know about that, the thing they announced on Apple, do you remember that?
I do.
I'm gonna ask you to talk about it a little bit.
Okay, I don't know much about it, but I can talk about it.
Anyways.
I can
Adafruit
bullshit
Learning
like
Center.
any other engineer.
Adafruit Learning System, I'm gonna show some new things there. Time travel, we're gonna look back in time. Makers, hackers, artists, engineers, and amazing people. Wearables. 3D printing. Raspberry Pi stuff. We got new products. Gonna answer your questions. Gonna do a trivia question. All that and more on, you guessed it, you're here. You've been watching it for 5 years. It's Ask an Engineer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next week we're gonna have a special guest, and last week we had a special guest, but this week is just classic.
Yeah.
Classic.
So, yeah, next week it's Aya. Aya from Little Bits, come by.
Right.
Talking about some Cloud Bit.
Yep.
Talking about some Bit Lab. Talking about bits.
Bits.
Yeah.
Next week is Bit Week, so I don't know. Stay tuned next week.
Yeah.
Okay, so this code.
Okay, yeah, so the code is sound. Gets you 10% off everything needed for store, except for EagleCAD and gift certificates. That would be weird because those are software and it's a gift certificate, so we don't do that. We still take Bitcoin. I have some Bitcoin news that I'll do back when we get through the news part, but yeah.
Okay.
We take Bitcoin, so use it or lose it, I would say, at this point.
Yeah, I heard. Is it dropped a bit?
It's dropped quite a bit.
Yeah.
But, you know.
But you don't know. Maybe now's a good time to buy.
Now's a good time to buy. We have our free deal. Right now, we're about to switch up on free stuff. So right now it says free UPS ground, continental US at $200 or more. So you can do that. So first,
yeah, we're in the middle of freebies. We're going to try to get some more freebies soon, but right now we do not have. We ran out of PCB rulers.
That's
and,
right.
Permaprotos.
So first up,
yes.
As seen on Show and Tell. Anita, can you quickly go over them because we have a monster show?
I'm going to go quickly over them. Okay, we had a bunch of people show up at the Show and Tell. Tony plus Tony's cat Carmen came over there from Adafruit Northwest, and they had mostly Tony did all the coding and development. I don't think the cat did much coding and development, though. I don't know. He's making a Pi TFT portable software-defined radio rig. So uses the software-defined radio, the RTL SDR dongle, on a Raspberry Pi and a Pi TFT, and you can do like a graphical display, waterfall display, and a frequency, like a Fourier transform-ish analysis of the like bandwidth of the SDR output. So you can use it as like a portable RF monitor device, which I think is really neat and has like really good wide bandwidth, and maybe eventually we can extract this, expand this code to like add listening capabilities or whatever. But it's still in progress, and maybe next week he'll show up and give us an update. Noah and Pedro talked about tomorrow and next week's project. They're doing 3D Halloween projects this month, so tune in tomorrow to get a post view of the many projects they've worked on over the last year that will that may be handy for your Halloween or costuming or cosplay or Comic-Con project. Don't forget, tune in tomorrow, 3D Thursday with Matt, Noah, and Pedro. Roberto came by with Photogramma, which is his animated GIF creator for Raspberry Pi, and he made a little helper tool to help squish the size and make animated GIFs through GIFs using the Pi camera. C. Scott RB came by and showed off 2 engraved synthesizer panels and a 3D printed NeoPixel clip design for clipping NeoPixels to a shelving system, and then also a NeoPixel control, like Arduino, like breakout thing in EagleCAD. So yeah, it's just like 3D printing, EagleCAD PCB layout, and PCB panel design. So this is like, it's basically like a factory on his desk. Lon came in and showed off the latest iteration of the game show system he's working on. It's looking really smooth. He's got multiple buttons. He's got 2 teams of 4, and there's the thing, and it's color coded, and the controller, and the person can control this game show. So basically, if you want to have like a professional game show, like this game show controller is intense. You have to watch the video because I can't explain it as much as you can just see it. It uses an Arduino base plus Cat6 to all the buttons, the 8 buttons, and then has NeoPixel rings also in each of the buttons so that you can notify who won, so you can like have back and forth communication, and an Arduino to control it all. And then finally, Adam showed up. He working on home security system, and his home security system uses Ethernet, like his local like cable modem or Verizon or whatever to send reports. But what if the criminal comes in and cuts the Wi-Fi, the router or the Ethernet cable? Like, you can't have that.
Or just the internet goes down.
Or just the internet goes down. Like, you want to know. It's like if you have a security system, it has to be fail-safe. And so he's using a Fona cellular module as a backup. He's using, I think, probably Tony's PvP tutorial to turn the Fona into, it's a cell phone. It can act like a slow but still functional internet link over cellular. So if the home router goes down, the Wi-Fi goes down, or the Ethernet goes down, it'll automatically detect that and switch over to the phone. It'll turn the phone on, connect over PPP to the cellular network, and send him an alert saying, hey, by the way, like, the internet went down, but I'm still making sure that your home is secure. And then when the Ethernet or Wi-Fi comes back up, it will disconnect the phone to save you from having to pay for all those minutes or megabytes and continue on its way. So it's a really intense and interesting system. Very, very useful if you have any kind of project that you want to have be able to handle network outages. Like a lot of people's projects, they want it to run for a very long time or notify them if the network goes down, but usually the network's down, so you can't notify them. So this solves that problem. Some really good projects this week on Show and Tell.
Okay, all participants on the Show and Tell get, you guessed it, an Show and Tell sticker. Yeah, this is sort of actual size depending on the size of your screen.
It's like 2 by 2 inches or something.
Yeah, Lady Ada, how do they get on the Show and Tell?
That's a big question. If you want to join the other wonderful and interesting people who are using electronics and other crafty goodies to make cool stuff, you can show up on the Adafruit Show and Tell. We have it every single week, so you have 52 events a year you can join in. It's every single Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time here in New York City. You go to our Google Plus page at plus.google.com/+Adafruit. Look for the thread where you say comment here to get added to the Show and Tell circle. And then once you've commented, we can click on your little icon and add you to the Show and Tell circle. We have like 450 people, and you'll get invited every single week. And then it'll be great. And you can show off your project, and you can show up as many times as you want, and you can show off any kind of project you want.
Okay, sold.
Sold.
You did it.
Yeah, I want to see some like welding projects, some woodworking projects. I want to see some. I mean, like I love electronics. Don't get me wrong, but I do electronics all day. Let's see some more projects, other kinds.
Okay, next up. So, pack the mailbags and stop by. Every week we get letters from you folks out there, and this week's letter comes from Rich. Rich says, "Thank you very much for the prompt attention. I was very impressed by your quick responses on a Sunday and the fast delivery. I hope to buy more stuff from you soon. Regards, Rich." So thank you, Rich. That's right. We answer all of your emails pretty much 24/7. It's very close.
we have coverage.
Yeah, pretty much. There's some 16
times. Hours a day?
Yeah, but we're rated by response time with audits on the resolutions. So 99.9% of everything gets handled within 3 to 5 hours Usually it's 3 to 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And then
if you email like 4 in the morning, it might take a couple hours, but like
if I'm awake, I might answer it.
from like 8 to 10 p.m.
Kind of-
8 a.m. to 10 p.m. definitely we got coverage.
I'm kind of getting tired of 4 a.m. emails.
4
But
a.m. emails are the saddest emails.
hello. So next up, we're gonna check this out. This is the thing I was showing you. We might go to this. It's the Lovelace.
It's a history of science lot.
Yeah.
So it's an auction house in New York, and they actually have like a couple thousand interesting like historic scientific things. I started looking through it. I mean, they have like an original Apple I computer that's like never been turned. I mean, it's been turned on and it's in perfect condition. And they have like some of these notes from Lady Ada herself, the original one, not me.
Yeah. So this is a sketch of the analytical engine by Babbage, and then there's notes by Lady Ada.
Yeah.
And so the starting bid is 18K, but I hope someone gets this who really likes to celebrate kind of the start, the first computer programmer, this woman, Lady Ada Lovelace, and puts it in a place where everyone can see it.
Yeah, that'd be cool. But do check it out. And if you are, because they have all the lots on the site. We didn't get to look through all of them. If you see anything else interesting, email us and let us know, and we'll highlight it. I mean, we're not going to buy it for you, but we'll like highlight it on the blog. Well, and then if you're in New York, they have a showing, I think, October 18th through 23rd. You can go in person. Yeah. And you may not be able to pick it up, but you can look at it, and they'll have the most popular things out for examination, and then so people can bid on them, which is cool. So maybe I'll go.
Yeah.
It's in Midtown.
Yeah, like 200 years ago, people thinking about like what a computer would be.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I like how it's like they have this like beautiful lines and.
Yeah, that was hand drawn. Yeah.
I think they probably use a template system, but still, it's beautiful.
Okay. Next up, I was talking about some Bitcoin news. So there's two things that happened in Bitcoin. Let me.
What happened?
You want the good news or the bad news?
I don't know. Is there any good or bad news with Bitcoin?
Yeah, there is.
Okay.
So first up, here's the good news. So PayPal and BitPay, who we use, both are working together. So merchants using the PayPal Payments Hub can create a BitPay merchant account and provide APA credentials into the Payments Hub admin. Customers with a Bitcoin wallet will be able to pay with Bitcoin for games, music, videos, ebooks, and other digital content. That basically means PayPal and Bitcoin are getting closer together.
I mean, it seems to me like eventually PayPal may implement BitPay or buy BitPay.
Yeah, they're dipping their toes.
They're safely getting involved.
Good news. Bad news.
Bad news
is the FTC shut down Butterfly Labs. Now we've covered them before.
Well,
yeah. So
they make the miners.
They make the miners, and so we covered them on the blog because you can still to this day right now buy one of these miners off Walmart's site, which is fulfilled by Tiger Direct, and so. Butterfly Labs has shipped more than $33 million in products and granted refunds for about 17 million customers who canceled orders. So what I believe what happened, and I don't know, is they have so many orders they couldn't fulfill them, and that became an issue. So I guess there was complaints. And the other thing that I think that happened, and again, this is all speculation, this is guess, I have no idea. I think some people got these and they actually thought like coins would pop out. I actually think that they didn't.
You buy them, and then if you buy the miner, by the time you actually. So like I wanted actually to carry Bitcoin mining chips in the Adafruit shop because I thought that'd be really cool. So Avalon had I think we tried to get the Avalon chips. This was like a year and a half ago. This was a while ago. They had these little like QFN chips, and you could control them over like TTL or I2C or SPI or something. And I even had like a board laid out and ready to go. And then we placed an order for like 200 chips. And then like months go by, and then months go by, and they're like, "Oh, we're gonna do another fab run," and then it basically never happened. We basically had to get a refund because I think in the end they said they're like, it's not gonna happen anytime soon, and they actually refunded us in
Bitcoin.
In Bitcoin,
and we made money.
And we made money because Bitcoin had risen since because even though the business was buying it, I ended up buying it on my own money, and then getting the company to refund to expense it because there's no way to actually.
It gets weird with Bitcoin.
It gets weird with Bitcoin because it's $100.
Anyways,
so it's all a mess because and then I wanted to get another Bitcoin chip, and that one was also totally back ordered. So I don't know why, but these chips are like very, very difficult for them to make.
I think people ordered them, and like 8 months later, they didn't get it, and they canceled orders, and I think there was complaints. And I also think people thought physical coins were going to pop out. So anyways, Butterfly Labs, they were aggressive. They said, well, our business, like, we're going to defend, this was a very heavy-handed thing. We're actually shipping things. Like, don't say that. So we'll see.
Wait, so they're going to court?
I think they're trying to respond to that. So I think, but as of right now, but you, like I said, on Tiger Direct, I think you can buy them right now. So anyways, news in Bitcoin world. Help wanted to start jobs board. Adafruit.com/jobs. We have the best and only maker-friendly jobs board where we approve everything and there's no headhunters or people that will bother you or bug you. If you want to get a job or if you're looking for someone, this is an electrical and mechanical engineers and industrial design center at Techstars Accelerator in New York. So if you're an EE and you want to be part of this startup craze, check it out. What do you need to do? Circuit design, PCB schematic design, strong debugging capabilities, wireless connectivity, mainstream prototype boards like Arduino, Raspberry Pi, and others. What an amazing time it is in this world when people say experience using mainstream prototyping boards. By the way, for all the people
Arduino and Raspberry Pi.
For all the people that said, "Oh, when is this stuff going to go mainstream?" Like years ago, well, maybe it
it's
just
now
did.
mainstream.
Maybe it just
according
did.
to Alicia, it's mainstream.
Yeah. Okay. So that's jobs board. Next up, news in the world of open source hardware. I'm going to keep this along.
Yeah, moving along.
Moving along. So first
Okay.
up, if you want to see an amazing interview with this lady, go to the Blueprint site. This is Shop Locket's site that they do interviews, and they did an interview with you. It was very cool about running an open source hardware company.
Okay.
I thought that was neat.
You got my Lucky Skull shirt on.
That's right. So check that out. Other open source hardware news at Maker Faire, we saw it. It's Make Getting Started with Adafruit Trinket. It is a book. Mike Borella was a guest last week. It is real. I hope I don't get in trouble for showing. This is the front and back cover that's going to print right now as
Wow.
we speak. So this
Scary.
is it. And so the open source Trinket with all of its cool projects and more, and
It's
Adafruit learning
huge.
system.
It's not one of these skinny getting started books. It's chunky.
No, it's a project book.
It's a project
It's
book.
full color.
It's big. Yeah, it's color. It's amazing. It's got tons of projects. Mike Borella, who's like the Trinket Pro, not the Pro Trinket, but he's a Trinket
Yeah.
Pro, wrote this book. It's excellent. Please
Okay.
pre-order, sign up, or you can get it now at the Rough Cuts, right? If you want
Yep.
Rough Cuts.
Next up, so Little Bits released their Bit Lab, and next week Aya is going to be here. She's going to talk about this. But if you want to make your own Little Bit, you can submit it, and then people can vote on it, and the bit can happen. So,
Okay.
kind of Aya with Little Bits being one of the few open source companies that's venture funded, is still pushing the boundaries on what's possible with hardware and marketplaces and more. And they
So
also
this is like
just,
the Kick Bitter.
yeah, and they also
or
just launched CloudBit.
Indie Bit.
Yep. Next
Okay.
up, some Arduino news. Okay, so Massimo was here. We talked, and we probably have a big announcement coming up at Maker Faire Rome. We'll see. I'm hoping that happens. But this is the announcement that just hit the wire. The Arduino and Atmel folks launch a secure Wi-Fi connectivity for all Arduino platforms and enables unlimited possibilities for smart connected IoT devices. What was this? You saw it was something on like the Zero thing. It was like the little
Yeah, I
crypto
saw
thing.
their. We saw actually a couple things at the ML booth, including this little. It's a little module. It's like the size of a Bluetooth module. It's pretty small. It's like a half an inch by an inch, and it's called like the Wink 5100, I think, and they actually bought another company. It's not an internal Atmel design. It's an external design that they have is brought in house, and it's a little Wi-Fi. Helper microcontroller thing, uses SPI or TTL or something, and you basically send it commands. It's a lot like the CC3000. It does like packets. It has it says secure, but watch out. That doesn't mean it does SSL, which I do not believe it does. It actually instead it has a authentication chip built in. It has some hardware encryption, but it doesn't have the ability to do SSL as far as I can tell. But it is an improvement over the previous Arduino Wi-Fi Shield, and also it's going to be low cost. The module itself, they said, under $10.
Okay.
So it'll be about the same price as CC3000, but maybe it'll be better in some ways. I actually don't know because they wouldn't even give me a sample. So, or they said they'll send me one, but I don't have one.
Okay, well, look for that. So that's big Arduino
We'll
news.
see how it goes.
And maybe some big news in a week or so that we can't talk about yet. Next up, a different learning system. We got some new stuff on the learning system this week. First up, we got this tutorial. This is a wireless game show popper for the classroom. You know
This
about this.
uses the Pro Trinket, and yeah, it allows you to use these little clickies with the Pro Trinket, and it will read the clickers and type out what the keys or whatever onto a computer. So it lets you basically use these classroom clicky button thingies, but on your own with your whatever internal system that you want to use. So I don't know, it's kind of handy. Like maybe if you're making your own game show system like Lon is on the show and tell, you'd use this. But it's also a really great example of using the Pro Trinket as a keyboard or mouse, which you can do using the Arduino USB libraries.
Okay. Next up, we have, I'll do this one. This is the companion to Collin's solar video. We're going to play that tonight. It's a little bit of a long video. That's why I'm going to try to get through everything. I don't know. Time goes so fast now. Anyways.
It's been 5 years.
Yeah, but anyways, Collin's video has a companion learning guide. Check it out. It goes with the video. Next up, this is the updated tutorials. You know about this thing.
Oh yeah, this is super simple. If you have a Pi TFT, we have the 2.8 resistive, 2.8 capacitive, 3.5 resistive. I have created updated images and kernel deb files for that match the latest September 9th or September 8th Raspbian release, and so I have new full images. So if you download them, they're the images that have all the new stuff installed, and also latest firmware. So some people were asking like, hey, I want to have the latest firmware or whatever. It is now up, and there we go. Good for you to update.
All right, and next up on the Adafruit learning system, we have a video that I didn't get a chance to play last week. It's how to submit a blog tip to the Adafruit site.
Did you just finish working on an awesome project or come across a cool article that reminds you of Adafruit? Share it with us by sending in a blog tip. We cover a wide range of topics on the Adafruit blog, ranging from electronics projects and tutorials to exciting news in the science and maker communities and more. Please keep in mind we like to keep the content we share positive, upbeat, and appropriate for all ages. We do not post about crowdfunding projects until after they have delivered their incentives to their backers. Please feel free to reach out to us after supporting your backers. Okay, so here's how you send us a blog tip. Proceed to the contact page by scrolling to the bottom of adafruit.com and clicking Contact. Next, enter in your name and email address. Then, in the category scroll bar, select Cool Thing for the Adafruit blog. Next, provide some information on your tip in the contact form below. Please provide a title, a URL, and a brief description of what you're sending in. To submit your blog tip, please select Send Now. That's it. Once you've completed these steps, you've submitted your blog tip. If we have follow-up questions, we will contact you directly. We're looking forward to blogging your projects, so don't be shy. Thanks for watching, and please subscribe for more Adafruit customer support videos.
Okay, and that was Kelly, and Kelly's getting married tomorrow.
Wow.
Congratulations,
Congratulations, Kelly.
All right.
And Bayman.
That's right. We have couples who actually work here at Adafruit. It's cool. It's cool. When your company gets big enough, occasionally people will like each other.
And get married.
Yeah. All right.
We did.
Worked out. Next up, time travel. Okay. A look back in the world of makers, hackers, artists, engineers, people that did important things in the world, celebrations of people who've made a difference this week. Mary Church Terrell, American author and activist, is born back in 1863. Daughter of former slaves, was one of the first African-American women to earn a college degree. She also became an activist who led several important associations, including the National Associations of Colored Women, and worked for civil rights and suffrage. Happy birthday, Mary Church Terrell. Next up. Also, Neptune was discovered.
Okay.
Yeah. Next up, Collin's Lab.
Everybody's favorite lab.
Yeah, Collin's Lab. It's a new one. It just dropped. If you ever want to know anything about solar, get comfy.
He's going to take me for a wild ride.
Collin's going to break it down.
Right now, energy radiating from the sun is making me sweat. Fortunately, solar power technology also allows me to use the sun's energy to cool off a bit. Your move, sun. Right. Anyway. Solar panels were first used to power satellites back in the 1950s. And since then, they've become much more efficient and widely used. A panel like this one converts light into electricity using an array of photovoltaic cells. These cells are surprisingly simple devices, similar to diodes. A diode uses two types of silicon stacked together to allow electrons to pass in a single direction. negative, or N-type silicon, which has an excess of electrons, and positive, P-type silicon, which has an excess of electron holes. Similarly, a photovoltaic cell uses a wide, flat layer of P-type silicon covered by a thin layer of N-type silicon. A single large flat metal conductor is connected to the bottom of the cell, and thin metal finger-like conductors are placed on top, which leaves most of the cell's surface exposed to light. When light hits the surface of the cell, photons pass through the top layer and hit the junction between the positive and negative layers. This knocks electrons out of their holes and towards the top of the cell, while those resulting holes are pushed down towards the bottom. When we connect a circuit to the cell's conductors, electrons leave the negative layer and travel through the circuit in order to reach the available holes down on the positive layer. All the while, more photons are knocking electrons out of holes, and the cycle continues. That's quite a bit different from what a diode does, eh? I mean, a diode can't generate electricity or respond to light. Or can it? Okay, here we have a bunch of silicon diodes. They're the small signal type, so they have glass packages which should allow light to pass directly to the silicon. By wiring them all up in parallel and exposing them to light, we can see that, in fact, they do produce a little over 200 millivolts. And what about light-emitting diodes? A row of 8 red LEDs produces about 1.4 volts. These little tests won't produce much current, but they prove that diodes and LEDs do work in similar ways. But I digress. A single photovoltaic cell can provide a half a volt. This panel here has 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 cells, so it can provide 6 volts. But depending on lighting conditions, that output power can change quite a bit. So the best way to use it is as a means to charge a battery, and then use that battery to power whatever it is you need to power. In order to charge my 3.7 volt LiPo battery here, I'll take the output from my panel and feed it into a specialized charging circuit. This circuit will manage the unstable output from the panel and provide a steady charge to the battery. This small power boost circuit will convert the 3.7 volts from the battery to a standard 5 volts, suitable for use in USB devices, microcontrollers, and what have you. In any case, even after understanding how it works, having the ability to convert light into electricity is still pretty mind-blowing to me. So go make something solar. But don't wear a black suit on the roof, because it's hot. Can I get a towel from somebody here?
All right.
Yay,
And
thank you,
that
Collin.
Was Collin. Okay, on to wearables. This week, guess what?
What?
Some wearable videos.
Yay!
This one is all about switches this week for costuming.
Okay.
So take it away, Becky.
When you think about adding electronics to your Halloween or cosplay costume, you probably imagine that it does something when you do something. It's interactive. So today we're talking tips and suggestions for adding triggers to your costumes and props. First, we have switches. Simple momentary push buttons and tactile switches can be added to any part of your costume, like the trigger on your portal gun, the back of your Star Trek communicator, or the fingers of a glove. Adafruit carries all sorts of switches in different sizes and trigger styles. If you want to detect a gesture, like dancing or waving a magic wand, you might try a simple vibration sensor, which triggers every time the spring inside shakes around. For more complex and precise gesture sensing, Consider an accelerometer module like the Flora 9 Degrees of Freedom sensor. Sound is another popular trigger. You can use the Adafruit Electret microphone amplifier breakout to add audio reactivity to your microcontroller project, or use a volume reactive EL inverter for EL projects. Lastly, you can make sensors from non-traditional materials, like the Velostat sensors in our Firewalker sneakers, made by taping a piece of conductive thread to each side and reading the changing resistance as your foot steps down. We wrote up these tips with example projects on the Adafruit Learning System. The link is in the description. What costumes are you working on this year? Let us know in the comments, and if you have questions, I'll tackle them every week on my live show right here on YouTube. Thanks so much for watching, and subscribe for more electronic costume techniques from Adafruit.
Okay.
Man, Becky's hair getting really long.
It is. You can measure the year by Becky's hair
true.
length.
Yeah.
So it must be fall. So next up, we didn't get a chance to play this video last week, but this is the NeoPixel LED Cortana costume. This is 3D
This was
printing.
epic.
It's wearables. It's everything.
New pixels.
It's cosplay. You name it.
Animated GIFs.
Here it is.
Become your favorite video game character with 3D printing and DIY electronics from Adafruit. In this project, we're adding Sobo NeoPixels and Gemma to a bodysuit to make a light-up Cortana costume. Get the parts for this project on the shop at adafruit.com. You can lay out the design and the placement of the components using pins. A body form is a must for getting things in the right place on stretchy fabric. Anytime you need to cross wires, use silicone-coated wire instead of conductive thread. Check out the guide on the Adafruit Learning System for a circuit diagram and full tutorial. Attach the Gemma and NeoPixel ring to the bodysuit using plain cotton thread. The rest of the pixels are sewn carefully using conductive thread, which connect together into a chain. Each pixel passes the control signal to the next, while they all share power and ground connections. Stitching on stretchy fabric can be very challenging. Be sure to stretch the fabric while you sew, so the thread doesn't end up too tight, or it might tear the fabric. Program the Gemma microcontroller using our Arduino libraries and demo sketch. To get extra details, we'll trace artwork from reference photos, and we'll format the artwork and make a stencil that we can 3D print. You can make large stencils using the Lulzbot Taz4 with PLA filament. Mark up the NeoPixels on the unitard and mock up the placement of the artwork using the stencil. Lay the stencil over the unitard and secure the stencil on top using painter's tape. A light coat of black spray paint really makes the details stand out. The blue unitard is worn over the bodysuit and can be stretched and adjusted to line up with the painted artwork. So what awesome wearable electronic costumes will you make this year? Let us know in the comments below.
Okay, next up. 3D printing. So that was kind of a 3D printing one anyways because of that stencil.
Well, we're just
And it was
kind of
wearables.
we're
and
getting
it was-
into 3D
yeah.
printing now.
So
Half wearables, half 3D printing.
since we're catching up from last week because we had some guests and a ton of
New products.
new products, here's the next video in our series. And this is one of my favorites because it alludes to some Dune-like things with 3D printing.
You just like Gothtronics.
Gothtronics.
In this project, we're building an ultrasonic ruler. A stylized enclosure makes this distance sensor into a handheld sonar measuring tape. The design features a unique handle and a large barrel that fits this project nicely. In this circuit, the trinket writes the distance to an LED display. The Easy Rangefinder is a great sensor for reading proximity and measuring distance. You can get the electronics for this project from the shop on adafruit.com. The 8-piece design is open source and available to download. It takes about 6 hours to print in PLA filament, and the parts are optimized to print with no support material. The extra details are added to the parts for cinematic aesthetics. A light coat of silver spray paint gives the pieces that extra shine and gunmetal look. Check out our guide on the Adafruit Learning System for a circuit diagram and full tutorial. The enclosure is designed to secure the components and is fastened together with machine screws. Wire wrap is threaded through the handle and neatly housed behind the standoffs. Assembly takes just a few hours and the final result is a functioning Hollywood-inspired replica. Download our Arduino libraries and demo sketch to program the Trinket microcontroller. What features could you add to this project? Let us know in the comments below. And if you're interested in learning more about distance sensors, be sure to check out these guides over here. if you
All
like.
right, and next up, one quick thing. This is a 3D printer that they're sending to space. Doesn't look like your average 3D printer, but this is the one that they're going to put into zero G.
That's neat.
To see how 3D printers
How's
work
it
out.
gonna stick to stuff?
I posted up on the site.
Yeah.
Check out the blog post
Okay,
because there's a
okay.
lot of interesting things.
Yeah,
If-
this is like a hard problem.
If you can get 3D printers to work in space, you could potentially print replacement parts for things. That's where it
Yeah.
gets really cool. Or really hot, depending on the method of which you're going to do it. Next up, the news that I think we talked about on one of the past shows, but Bree, who I know, he was a school teacher, and I hired him to work at Make Magazine, and then later he started to do some like 3D printing hobby or whatever, but anyways, he worked on MakerBot, and now he's doing a new effort with Stratus and MakerBot, and I think one of their other things called Bold Machines.
Okay.
So they launched this week, and what it is right now, and this is from what I understand, it's a feature film, and you can print the characters out right now. And so this is Margot, and she's the hero. She's a super smart detective, and you can download and print these models on Thingiverse right now. And after you print them out, you can paint them. Here's one of them that was painted. And then just to give you an idea of the size, here's Bree with Bree's beard and the villain. So that's how you can measure things now. So that's one of the characters in this. And this is pretty neat because what they're trying to do is push what films could be if all the pieces, and I don't mean that literally, I mean it figuratively, were 3D printed. So the idea is like there's claymation, there's all sorts of like Pixar style animation, and then there's this like 3D thing. So anyways, we're gonna try to find out more about this soon, but that was the big announcement this week. So if you follow 3D printing, this is kind of
He's a
cool.
great character. I like his character.
I also like to see Bree kind of getting back. So he was a puppeteer, and he
Yeah.
made some of the best make videos in the world. I like that he is doing a lot of
He's getting back.
cool stuff like
His
this.
roots.
Yeah.
Okay.
And don't forget, tomorrow is 3D Thursday. It's the 3D Hangouts with Matt, Noah, and Pedro. Check it out. It's tomorrow at 3 p.m., our new live 3D printing show. And Lady Ada, it's time. We're just going to go straight to new products now. You ready?
Okay.
Well, wait. The code sound.
Sound.
Anything you see that we have in stock, you can get 10% off. Okay, so here we go. It's new product time. You ready?
Yes.
Set.
Make.
But wait, this can't be new. I've seen this before. Oh wait, no, it's kind of new.
This is a
What
kind
this?
of new thing. So
This is a beagle bun. This isn't new, Lady Ada.
Let me do that again. What are you? Stop
I was just
it.
Okay.
Stop it. This is a Beagle Bun Black. It's the Beagle Bun you know and love so well, but this one is actually a slightly different product ID because it's not made by Circuit Co., who's the original partner for TI. This is actually made by mbest. So instead of being made in Texas, it's made in China. So it's the exact same specs, the same board, same file, same everything, same test procedure. And like we even got one and we booted it up and it boots just fine into Debian, which is what the latest Beagle and Black Rev Cs are. But again, it's not made by Circuit Co., it's made by mbest. It's, as far as we can tell, completely equivalent. We looked at it looks exactly the same. Element 14 guarantees that it's equivalent. They're the manufacturers through mbest. And it's basically another supplier for the BeagleBone Rev C. Only reason we think this might be handy is a lot of people want BeagleBone Blacks, and sometimes Circuit Co. doesn't have them to supply. But having two suppliers now means you have twice the opportunity to get BeagleBone Blacks, so hopefully we will not have any stock issues going forward.
Yeah, and it's also interesting to see it's unclear to me exactly the landscape of how TI and BeagleBone interact because they, like the BeagleBone is an effort, almost like the Pi Foundation,
Yeah.
and TI is a chip manufacturer. So the BeagleBone is somewhat like an eval board for TI stuff.
Yeah,
But
it's
what's-
totally open source.
Yeah, what's cool is the fact that you can have multiple manufacturers for the BeagleBone because it is open source. Because
Yep.
they do want to get as many out as possible.
Yeah, I mean, we could manufacture BeagleBone Blacks. I don't really
Yeah.
want to because we're really busy. But if we wanted to, we could buy all these chips, get the PCBs made, and make BeagleBone Blacks in house, which is kind of neat.
Yeah.
So, anyways, that's that one. That's
Okay.
pretty straightforward.
So
Okay, moving on.
next, more filament.
Yep. We now have more filament. This is now 1.75 millimeter ABS in black, and we'll hold it up to prove it to you.
Yeah.
It's from Ultimachine, which from many experimentations we've determined makes the best quality filament.
Yeah, I saw Ultimachine at
Maker
Faire, and they said thank you for putting our name on
Yeah.
things and saying that this is the best quality because it's cool that someone noticed. So this is made in USA. It's not the cheapest filament, and
It's not the cheapest.
And you know what? If you do a lot of 3D printing, cheap filament means your
It
extruder gets
clogs,
clogged.
and then you have to throw out your
It's-
print anyways.
It's crummy stuff. It breaks. It's just bad. So we decided to get the best one.
Yeah.
So we're gonna
And
try
we
to
get more colors next week as well. This is just
Yeah.
where we placed an order, and then not all of it came in, and then the rest of it came in. So
Yeah.
if you want to get a whole bunch of filament, wait a couple of days, and we're going to put in like green, red, blue, and translucent, whatever. We have like a huge box of different colors. We'll
Yeah.
be taking photos and putting them in next week.
Okay, next up we have 2 new Raspberry Pi B+ starter packs.
Yes.
One with and one without a Raspberry Pi B+.
We finally got in assembled Pi cobblers and the 2 amp power supply with USB cable built in. So that means we can finally do the starter packs. We had starter packs for the Model B, but since the Model B is on a slight hiatus, it will come back. But people want to upgrade to the B+ anyways because B+ has more USB ports. So how about you? Yeah, can you just stop on this photo? Cause,
Oh, sorry.
That's exactly the opposite.
You want to go back?
Yeah. This just shows you it in action. We have 2 versions. One has a Model B+, and one does not. So just pick whichever one you want. If you don't have a Model B+, get the one with, and if you already have one, then go without. The B+ is in the center, so right there. And we are including our acrylic cutout case. It's a beautiful case with a hingey lid, which is great, and it works wonderfully with the cobbler, which is all the way over there. There's a ribbon cable, 40-pin ribbon cable, and we include an extra long breadboard, so you can plug in the cobbler into the Pi and prototype circuits. We also include 20 pins of premium cable, a console cable, which will let you log into the console for debugging or headless operation. We find this console cable is really handy because if something goes amiss, if you don't have a monitor, you can still log in over the console and like log in directly and just run stuff. And also, like right here, we include our stick USB Wi-Fi dongle. These are really good Wi-Fi dongles. They have better range than the little ones, and a lot of people were like, little ones didn't have good range, especially if in a big apartment or in a house. So we are including the stick one, and then can you hide me?
What?
Can you hide my face?
Okay.
Thanks. We also include where my face was. 3 tactile buttons, RGB LED, a capacitor, a photocell, and then a bunch of resistors. And also, you don't see it here, but we also include our high quality 5-volt 2 amp power supplies. This is really everything you need to get started with the Raspberry Pi Model B+, especially if you're interested in physical computing. We have more components, of course, if you want to add them, but this is like a really, really good way to start if you want to like follow a book or follow our tutorials. Oh, and includes also forgot to mention, includes a Raspbian pre-installed SD card. So you are like plug and play, plug it in, and you're ready to go with Raspbian already installed.
If you want to get started with the Raspberry Pi, this is the way to do it. Next up, this is in the store, and it's very cool. We've been waiting anxiously to get this in. It is the Spark Core. A lot of people know about it.
This is the Spark Core starter kit. It's a Wi-Fi, Internet of Things, little helper breakout board. It uses an STM32 processor, and it has a CC3000 on top. And this was a successful Kickstarter, and then after the Kickstarter was complete, we said, hey, let us know when you're ready to ship, and we'll stock it. And so we got a shipment of like 100, and we'll get more if people want more. We're getting the ceramic antenna, which we said was the most popular anyways. And it's cool because you can reprogram it over Wi-Fi, and there's a lot of example code. It is not an Arduino. Even though they say on their website it is Arduino compatible, it is not. And I have to make it super clear because we have a lot of Arduino stuff that will not work because you have to port the library. Many times it may work, especially if it doesn't use any of the lower level stuff, like maybe timers or the specific analog digital pins or the specific I2C stuff. I don't know. It's the STM32 processor, not the Atmega processor. So even though many basic Arduino type programs will work, and I think even people ported NeoPixel library to it and a couple others, there's no guarantee that if you have an Arduino that this will work the same. So just be aware.
Be aware.
But check it out, and they've got a great website at spark.io with their own cloud system. If you're interested in doing Internet of Things stuff, this is very easy to get started, and it's really popular. We're seeing a lot of projects, so we're glad to have it in the shop.
Next up, the Raspberry Pi computer pack. This gets you going.
This is the add-on to the starter pack. So if you notice in the starter pack, we include a power supply and a USB and a SD card. and all that good stuff, but we don't include like any computer parts. A lot of people may already have a mouse and keyboard and HDMI cable, but if you want to turn your Raspberry Pi into a computer, especially if you have a starter pack and you want to have like a monitor and you want to like keyboard and mouse, because the B Plus has 4 USB ports, you can have a mouse and a keyboard and Wi-Fi, which is kind of like this magic trifecta of usability. So this pack is just it's like a 10-15% discount off of getting the parts individually. You get HDMI cable, a really, really nice chiclet keyboard. These are like really good quality keyboards, and a really nice optical wheel mouse. They're wired, so they're a little bit less expensive, but they're also, you don't have to worry about batteries and recharging, and they just plug it in and it works great. So, computing pack.
Okay. Next up, we got this little thing. What is this?
This is a little amplifier board.
That's so cute.
We have a lot of stereo amplifiers, Class D stereo amps, but they're a little bit big, and also maybe you don't need stereo. Maybe you only have a single speaker, in which case you may find this handy. It's a 2.5 watt Class D amplifier. It can drive 4 or 8 ohm speakers, or 6 ohm, I guess, if you happen to have a 6 ohm speaker. It can do up to 2.5 watts if you give it 5 volts, and it's driving in a 4 ohm speaker. And I think you do like 1.5 watts or 1.2 watts if you're driving 8 ohms from 5 volts. But it can run as low as 2 volts. This is a really good battery-powered speaker thing. And actually designed it for use with the soundboard, which we'll talk about shortly.
Okay.
And I'll demo it then. But the nice thing about this is it's really small. It's really low cost, it's like $4. And it has a little trim pot all the way over there. So you can adjust the volume. Because it's mono, so you just twist potentiometer and it will adjust the volume for you, which is really nice if you just want to have like a simple amplifier. And it's pretty loud. I'll demo it shortly.
Okay. Next up, this is something I saw in person, and I saw Lenore and Wendell from Evil Mad Scientist Laboratories, and this is the new metal
Pro Eggbot.
Pro Eggbot. And when I saw it, I said, "Oh man, when should we start ordering these?" He said, "Phil, you already did."
This is super slick. So this is no longer
Yeah.
a kit. This is like a fully manufactured Eggbot. So if you are interested in eggbotting, but you don't want to get the basic Eggbot, you maybe want to have a fancier Eggbot. I'm not actually sure that the update in specs. I think basically it's higher precision. I think the Eggbot required some assembly, not tons of assembly, but it did require some. This one is actually ready to go out of the box, but it's, I think, a little bit more expensive, but it's also a lot more rugged.
Yeah.
Maybe
The
I'll
other
just
thing,
open it up
the other
and
thing
show.
that's really cool is they got this custom bicycle part that was made by a company who makes these like
Oh,
brakes.
the quick release.
The quick release
That's funny.
that's just for the
Oh my
Eggbot.
God. Can you open this?
Yeah, I don't know if you're going to be able to open this up.
Oh, you know what? It
It's- I
opens
think
this way.
Yeah, it's.
Yeah, I can read. Okay, so let's show this thing off. Wow, this is beautiful.
Yeah, it's like an appliance now.
So yeah, it's applying spot. So yeah, you've got these quick releases, so you can open this, and there's like measurements, and it's this beautiful. It's really beautiful. It's still got the open source Eggbot board, so if you want to hack it or modify it, it still uses Inkscape, but it is now just like super slick, and it comes with tools. I guess there's people who really wanted Eggbots, but they're like, I don't even necessarily want to kind of screw together the Eggbot. So
I'm going to say this. So, Evil
What?
Mad Scientist Laboratories, they make the best stuff in the maker world. His
it
hands
is
down.
the highest quality. Look at this. This is
The,
like
the
craft
craft person ship on this is incredible.
craft ladyship. Yeah,
Yeah.
Lenore and Wendell are excellent. This is like custom machined parts and
Yeah.
bent, and then
And then
powder
it's milled.
coated.
Yeah, they just did such a good job.
This is intense. It's like sweet. Yeah. Oh, and
kind
you
of
know,
annoying
you know
how
what's
good
funny?
they are.
You can tell like they're engineers because there's 3 nubs for the feet.
Yeah. Look on
Because
the
like,
inside.
no
there's-
engineers only like to have 3 points because that way you never have rocking or tilting.
Yeah, and then they have the serial number. This is number 24.
Okay. All right. So this Eggbot is it
Okay.
could be yours if you order now.
You can get it for 10%
Number
off.
24.
Okay, next up, this is a cool thing. If you have a TAS 4 or any 3D printer, you can laser cut this. This is a very cool, flexible plate. And what this does is allow you to pop the prints off.
Yeah.
And we asked our 3D printing experts here at Adafruit, what should we get for the TAS? So the builds are so big that they get stuck, and a lot of people do
It's
the
hard to
blue
get them
tape.
off, yeah.
There's all sorts of things you can do, but this bends. And let me try to show you. See, so it bends, and when it bends, just ever so slightly this way or this way, the print pops.
Yeah.
So this is a very handy thing for
This is
3D
really
printers.
interesting. You do
Yeah.
have to re-level the board, the plate after using this.
Yeah, gotta do that anyways usually.
You know, just after you 3D print, you're used to that anyways. So Yeah, this is some kind of interesting, flexible but sticky plastic. So check out the specs for what plastics you can use with. I'm assuming you can use ABS and PLA, but I don't know.
It's a Print and Z flexible
Print
3D
and Z,
plate.
right.
Okay.
That's
Next
it.
up, this is besides you. This is the star of the show tonight. This is one of the coolest products I think you've ever done.
Aw.
It is. No, I mean it. This is the Adafruit Audio FX board. This is a, you don't need an Arduino, you don't need a microcontroller, and you get all the goodness of something like a sound trigger, what people might be familiar with, all in this small package. So Lady Ada, take it away. What
Okay, yeah, so this is a long time coming, but I finally finished the soundboard. And it's an audio trigger, but it's a really, really easy all-in-one audio trigger. So, you know, instead of having an Arduino and a wave shield, a lot of people are like, well, I want to make a sound, so they get an Arduino and a wave shield or like some MP3 shield or something. It gets a little bit expensive. It's good quality, but it's, you know, you have to program it. It's not plug and play. So this is specifically designed only to make sounds and specifically for people who don't want to get a programming thingy going on. It is plug and play. You do have to solder wires to it. Eventually, I might make a solder-free version. But you don't have to do any Arduino programming, you don't need a microcontroller, and there's not even a configuration file. I'll explain how this works. It has built-in storage as well. So the little chip on the side here is a 2 megabyte chip, and it's a flash chip, and so when you plug this into USB, there's a micro USB connector. It shows up like a hard drive, and then you can just drag the audio files you want over. So you don't have to get an SD card and load it. So like when you buy it, you're done. It's all in one. And it uses a VLSI chip called the VS1000, which has a built-in OGG Vorbis or wave codec. Sorry, not codec, only decoder. It cannot encode. And so OGG Vorbis is basically like a free version of MP3. MP3 is a patented format, and so to keep it cheap, they didn't include MP3 decoding. But there's a lot of MP3 to OGG Vorbis, like drag and drop converters, and I used one on the web. Even you like drag your file onto the web page and it converts it, and you download the OGG Vorbis file. It sounds exactly the same, and it's the same size, but you don't have to pay Fraunhofer. Sorry, Fraunhofer. And then it also decodes waves, classic uncompressed wave files of any bit rate you want, and it sounds really, really good. It can do stereo. And then my face is hiding a headphone jack. Can you put my face away? Thanks. There's a stereo output headphone jack, so you can connect it to powered speakers, or you can use an amplifier. I'm actually going to demo it with the amplifier we talked about earlier. You can connect like any amplifier you want. It just has stereo output, and you have up to 11 triggers. And I'll demo the triggers in a bit. Do you want to show the other photos?
I was gonna.
Oh, you want to go straight to the
You
demo?
should go to the overhead.
Okay,
Yeah.
because we're going to run out of time. Oh, can I?
What do you want to do?
I want to turn off the autofocus. Well, I don't know, whatever. Maybe I'll just autofocus. So this is the board, and I actually put a live poly backpack onto it, so it's portable, and I can power it up. And then there's 11 pins. I connected up 10 buttons because I ran out of space for an 11th button. And whenever you trigger that button by connecting it to ground through like a button or a sensor, you can watch Becky's video for what kind of sensors you can use. You can use like a tactile switch, or you can use like two pieces of conductive material, or like those, conductive Velcro, or any kind of switch. The processor will read the switch and then play that track number. So if the track is called, for pin number 0, track 00.ogg, it will play that when you press T0, the 0th pin trigger. If your track is named T10.wave, it'll play that file when you press the 10th button. So I'll just demo like that part really easily. So yeah, it's just lit up, and then I'm gonna press this.
Track 9.
Does that come through? Not
Yeah,
okay.
it does.
I'll maybe make it a little louder because I can adjust the volume on the little board. Make sure it's plenty loud.
Track 8.
Whoa, too loud. Hold on.
Track 9.
And then,
Track 8. Track 7.
so each button
Track 7.
has a particular track that plays. And then, so that's like pretty simple. You press the button and audio file plays. That's really easy. But then like I thought, well, a lot of people have more complicated things that they want to do. Like for example, you might want to have an effect that plays only when you hold down the button. So like a repeating sound effect, like like a ray gun, when you hold the trigger, it makes blasty sounds. And then when you release it, it stops playing that sound. So I think this one is the one that loops.
Track 3.
No, sorry.
Track 4 hold loop. Track 4 hold.
And when I let go of it,
Track 3.
Nope.
Track.
it stops playing.
Track.
So it's one of those, only hold to play the file. And to do that, you just rename the file to track 04 hold loop.wave. And when the processor sees that the name of the file contains the word hold loop, it knows to only loop it when you hold down the button. And then there's a couple other modes. There's also a latching mode. So that's a mode where you press the button, it starts playing and repeating, and then it waits until you press it again to stop. So this one I think is that one.
Track 6 latching. Track 6 latching. Track 6.
And then I press it again to stop it. So that's good if you want to have something go on in the background when you don't want to hold down the button all the entire time or the sensor. And then there's two other modes, which I don't think I have time to demo, but I'll describe. There's next mode where you can have up to 10 tracks on one button, and every time you press the button, it plays through each track in a row. So if you want to have like a teddy bear that when you squeeze it, it says something, and then the next time you squeeze it, it says something else. So you don't have to have multiple triggers. You can have up to 10 files on one button by having the last digit be 9 or 8 or 7 or 6, from 0 to 9. And then there's another version called random play mode where you can have up to 10 tracks and it'll play a random one every time you press the button. So let's say you want to have that same squeezy teddy bear project, except every time you squeeze it, it says something randomly. It has a random number of tracks that it plays. So there's 5 different trigger modes. There's this classic play mode. There's the hold to trigger mode. There's the classic mode, the hold looping mode, latching mode, next mode, and random mode. So you can have up to 5 different, and you can mix and match. Like each button can have different types of modes. So you can have like one button that holds and loops and one that does next mode. And so you can have up to basically 200 different audio files if you wanted all play. And all you have to do is just plug in USB and drag the files on, and then just rename them according to what you want the performance to be. That way you don't have a configuration file or any programming, and it covers 90% of projects. So yeah, I think that's it. And then that's the amplifier board that I'm just demoing with it using 4 ohm speaker, and then you can adjust with the potentiometer. So that way I get to demo both things at once.
Okay, good work.
Okay.
Everybody is coming up with amazing things that they want to do with it, and they said fabulous engineering. Lady
Yay!
Ada.
And
Good work,
one of the cool things about this is that since I designed this after the Pro Trinket, I made it work with the Pro Trinket LiPo backpack because I thought people want to make this battery powered. So if you grab the backpack on, you could plug a LiPo battery and then it charges over the micro USB, so you can make it totally portable. And then you plug it in to recharge it or to upload the files again.
So if you want to make that stuffed animal or toy that talks
Or
and does
prop,
thing,
or
anything, or
costume.
costume, this is the board. So we think, by the way, it's sold out instantly, so that's the way it
We're
is.
going to make more though, and I'm also going to make a version that has a built-in amp in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
And then I'm also going to try to make a version that has a 16 megabyte flash chip, which is a little more expensive, but actually 2 megabytes is quite a bit. People think 2 megabytes, that's not that much, but with Ogg Vorbis, it's actually up to 3 minutes of audio.
Yeah.
So you can have a full song that plays, and or multiple long effects. But I demoed a couple of kind of classic projects like the little Yoda that when you press it, when you squeeze it, it says different Yoda phrases, or the ray gun that when you hold it, it plays blaster sounds, and you have another blaster, and it only took 300K of memory. So
Okay, and with that, Lady Ada, is
plenty of space.
new products.
Yay.
All right, you guys can ask some questions in the chat while we do a couple last things. We're gonna give away something, and we gotta go. This was an epic day.
Yeah.
Oof. All right, so don't forget the code is sound. Anything that's in stock, use the code sound.
I'm gonna play some.
10% off in the Adafruit store up until midnight tonight.
Do you want to hear a beep?
Yeah, I'd like to hear a beep. It's a beep. Okay,
That's a test beep.
that's enough.
Track 1.
Okay,
Random 2.
here's a
Okay.
question. People want to know, does the soundboard, does it play stuff in folders, or does it have to be in the main directory?
It has to be in the main directory. It's not smart enough, and it has to be 8.3 file
Okay.
names. But the file names have to be there's a specific file name that it looks for. Check the tutorial for exactly what to call each file. And there's a folder that I have with a bunch of demo tracks. So if you want to just download that and open it, you can see what format the files should be in.
Okay, next up. Can the one button 315 megahertz fobs be modded to send the B, C, or D signal from the 4 button fob?
Oh. Maybe. I don't know. You'd have to take apart both and see what's different. I've not taken them apart, so I don't know what's different about them. But I'm assuming there's some resistor or pin that's shorted that sets what code it's sending. I don't know. It's a good question, though.
Okay. Next up, here, I can do this. This will be a fun one. If someone's having a problem with ProTrinket and they can't, it says the USB devices have found, what is some of the things they can do to troubleshoot?
First off, make sure you have the ProTrinketified IDE that we have to download it. Make sure you select the ProTrinket. And make sure you select USB, not FTDI. And then make sure you press the button to have the LED should be pulsing. And that will let you know that it's in bootloader mode. The bootloader mode will eventually drop out. Like, it only is in bootloader mode for 10 seconds. So you have to upload in that time. And they can post in the forums if they have other questions. And make sure you have the ProTrinket driver installed as well. You have to do that on Windows. And on Linux, you need to be root, because you have to have root admin privileges.
Okay, someone wants to know, could they control a MakerBot via Raspberry Pi command line? Maybe.
Ooh,
I don't know.
I
don't know. Today there was a firmware update. We have a.
I don't think there's any way to connect to a MakerBot over. I mean, I think it's FTDI, but
I think so.
I don't think they opened the control.
Here's the next question, and I'll wrap up the evening, then we'll give away the prize. What was the cool thing you saw at World Maker Faire? I'll tell you. The folks who do the big Delta bot made like a 2-story one.
Yeah, that was
it
cool.
was
The CNC.
Incredible,
That was so
amazing,
cool.
and it actually worked. It made giant
It was like a pot.
Yeah, human-sized cocoons.
It made like the biggest shot glass.
Yeah.
And I like
let's
the
see.
big, the handmade Nixies. That was also cool.
Here's an easy question. Will you sell NinjaFlex? We already do. It's in the store. It's very easy. Okay.
We have it in silver, white, and black.
Here's one. This is from Matthew. As a current high school student after school, college, is there any opportunities to work at Adafruit? Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. All you have to do is post up cool projects, come on the show and tell. Most of the amazing people that you see on Adafruit videos and stuff, we met on the internet.
Yeah.
So that's how you do it.
People who show up on the show and tell and post tutorials, they're the first ones to get hired by us to do more projects, because what we definitely need the most of is people to do cool projects. That's like always wanted and needed at Adafruit.
It is time to no.
It's
that we already did that. It's trivia question time.
Okay.
Oh God! Clicky click click click. Trivia question time, Lady Ada.
Okay.
What are the rules?
Rules are, if you have won something from this show, you can't win again. Only one winner per my lifetime. You can enter if you've won something from like the 3 Thursday or Wearable Wednesday trivia. I'm assuming that they have some sort of giveaways there. Today's prize is soundboard. We're out of stock.
Wow, we're out of stock. Wow.
You're gonna get this one.
I wouldn't have done that if I were you.
Why not?
But it's fine. It's too late.
It's my show.
I know, it's your show.
It's my show. I want to give away soundboard. I want to give away soundboard. Crazy Lady Ada is gonna give away the last soundboard. And you know what? I'm so crazy, I'm going to toss in an amplifier, too.
Okay, so it's the soundboard and the amplifier.
Wow.
For our community support team, these are on my desk.
Wow.
By the way.
Here's the header that goes with it.
Know. All right.
Okay.
Okay, so...
First person to type in the answer to this question.
So here's the question. Back in 1846, what planet was discovered? 1846, what planet?
You remember 1846? Remember that? That was a cool year.
Yeah.
What planet?
Type in the YouTube chat or
by humans.
The Ustream chat. Whatever one I see first, they're both synced up pretty nice tonight. Will win the amp, the soundboard. Let's see. All right. Pearly Brown. Congratulations, Pearly Brown. You win. Pearly Brown. Email support@adafruit.com and tell them that you won the soundboard and the
amplifier.
And they're on Phil's desk.
They're great flavors that go together.
Yeah.
It's like peanut butter and jelly. You get the audio board and then you get an amplifier so you can speaker it out. Hopefully you'll make a cool project and tell us about it.
Okay. All right, that's the show tonight. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you all the Adafruit folks that are here working. Thank you all the folks that are helping us out online in the chat and more. All the folks on the show and tell, and all of the viewers who make this possible. Don't forget the code tonight is sound.
Track 6 latching.
That's my favorite track.
I know.
That's our song.
You've heard that like 5,000 times while I was debugging this thing. I know. It's the crystal voice from the AT&T text-to-speech.
Yeah.
Look, I can't play anything that like is copyrighted because it could, like, we could get like YouTube shut down or whatever.
That's right. We continue
so
to get
annoying.
like YouTube notices. They say, whose copyrighted music are you using in your videos? And now we have a physical album. And speaking of, we're going to play out tonight.
With frequency?
We're gonna show a picture of a cat.
Okay.
We're gonna
Wait a second,
do.
new photo.
We're gonna.
The phone.
Yeah, well.
Okay. And diode?
Yeah.
Okay.
I had like a million meetings. I don't have time for that. So here's a moment of Zener, and here's frequency.